Jackie Dean.
Mr. Speaker, 10-minute speech that we've just had to endure from Chris Whawhoi, and only 2 minutes of that was devoted to the bill at hand, because I believe that Todd McClay, the author of this most excellent bill, has touched a really raw nerve with Mr. Chris Whawhoi. He is beside himself because he knows that the submission from the Whitireia Community Law Centre is absolutely right. This gang patch in public places bill is making a huge contribution to tackling the problem of gangs in New Zealand. Mr. Chris Whawhoi knows it, and we have this submission from the Whitireia Law Centre which absolutely backs this bill and backs Todd McClay's position. It has utterly destroyed the reputation of Chris Whawhoi in his electorate, and he is very, very worried, not hard to do, and he is very worried about that because Chris Whawhoi knows that anything that this Parliament can do to tackle the gang problem in New Zealand is a good thing, has widely been supported by the submitters who came to our select committee, and will do its bit to tackle the scourge of gangs in his electorate. And that is what is biting and eating away at Chris Whawhoi so much, is that he knows that that is the truth. And Chris Whawhoi knows that there will be people out there in Porirua in his electorate who are looking at this debate today and who will be absolutely dismayed at the fact that their member of Parliament, who is meant to be representing their interests in this place and who should be supporting this bill, is finding himself in a policy no man's land where he is forced to espouse a position that in his heart he doesn't believe, and in his heart will be eroding away at the popularity that he enjoys a little bit of in Porirua in his electorate. Because the Whitireia Community Law Centre said some things to us which were very compelling and which were in support of Todd McClay's gang patch in public places bill. They had this to say by way of context to us. In the early 1970s, the mongrel mob moved into the Porirua area, and since then they have had a strong presence in our community. You see, these are people who really care about their community. With high unemployment, increased availability to drugs and a rise in poverty, the mongrel mob offers an alternative to young men who are often estranged from their families, products of broken homes, or had long associations with child, youth and family. So this law centre cares about and represents vulnerable people in Chris Whawhoi's constituency. They are the ones who care about the constituency. They are supporting the bill. Why isn't Chris Whawhoi? Why isn't Chris Whawhoi supporting a bill which does just a bit to help tackle the gang problem in New Zealand, which this government is so focused on doing? In his 8-minute rant about New Zealand police, what Chris Whawhoi didn't say was that crime is dropping in New Zealand. Chris Whawhoi ignored that inconvenient truth that there are more police on the streets in New Zealand and in Porirua, and that crime is dropping in his own constituency. And this is what is eating him up so much about Todd McClay's excellent bill, is that he knows it's the right thing to do, but he cannot do a damn thing about it because he is being told to oppose it for ideologically bereft reasons, because they can find no real reason to oppose this bill except that maybe when somebody walks along an open walkway they're not covered by the bill, but when then they're in a closed walkway they are. Well, come on, what kind of logic is that? I mean, we're going to hear that kind of logic from Phil Goff, and that's not going to be very convincing. So poor old Chris Whawhoi has found himself having to oppose this bill against the wishes of his own community. Man, it must suck to be him.
Point of order was that. Order. A point of order, Honourable Tauhenare.
Mr. Speaker, seek leave to table the agenda for the IPU meeting at 4:30 this afternoon.
Leave is sought for that purpose. Is there anyone opposed to that course of action? There appears not. Leave is granted. Honourable Phil Goff.
Mr. Speaker, the chair of the committee has just resumed her speech.